Hey, hi, I'm here. I was just getting some ice and some water. And I'm getting a little bit of a headache, so I'm going to take one of my powders. Hi, Whisper, Davita, Aunt She, Kathy, Liza Ward. Let's see. I don't think I missed anybody. Liza Ward, you were the first one here, girl. You must be wanting some old days stories. Hi, Kathy. I don't know if I said hi, Kathy. Anybody use these BC powders or whatever they're called? Something like that. Oh, I forgot. Where's my magazine? I have it right. Where is it? I just got it today. Here it is. Found it. I have all those ones Carolyn gave me for my birthday, too, to read sometime. That's good to hear, Liza. I love your name, by the way. Let me take this so I don't keep having this headache or neck ache, whatever it is. I'm going to just read a couple and then go to bed. You're doing better, Davita? Hopefully. We want you better, girl. There's some in that Reminisce magazine, Davita, I was looking at last night. that I'm waiting until you feel better. And then I'll read that. It's got like all the old favorites in there that you love. Like, I think it was Sandra D or something, and trivia on music. So, yeah, it's aspirin. There's Moo. Her kids wore her out this evening, but she'll be lurking. Thank you, Moo. Just coming to listen. Well, didn't get it all. I'm sure that looks attractive too, doesn't it? Ah, burnt my tongue. Ugh. I already took my liquid vitamin. I keep forgetting to take that. Look how I lost all the color in my hair, guys. I had it all, remember? Caroline Connor colored it and everything before we went to the beach. The sun took it all out. So it's still, dyed. Otherwise, it would be gray. But it lost all that red, burgundy, and everything. Oh, really, Liza? That's cool. I remember my granny talking about Al Jolson. She really liked that other one from the silent movie days. What was his name? Charlie Chaplin. Sun bleach, yeah, Davida. It's almost my regular color before I ever turned gray. It's very close. But my hair was a little bit lighter, believe it or not, my regular hair. Okay. See, still in the package, in the wrapper. I should have saved all these so they could be in wrappers like the ones Carolyn sent. How does she ever find stuff that's so freaking like brand new? Okay. I'll show you guys one of my shells, okay? See, I do mine a little bit different. Okay, mine are a little different. Mine are probably a lot different than most. Okay, this is the back. I still need to put the gloss on it. I did one layer, but I need another layer to make it nice and shiny. It's like a treasure, right? I painted the little shells that were already stuck on there, made them a gold, and then turn it over. And look who's hiding in here. Can you tell who that is? Can you read what it says? Really, Davida? Oh, wait, you love the stories. Never mind. You really do, ain't she? You like it, Liza? Can you guys tell who that is? Yep, it's old Maryland. Even Lexi knew. I asked her tonight, can you tell who that is? She's like, yeah, that's Marilyn Monroe. Yeah, let your light shine. It almost looks like a light bulb now that, let your light shine. Then I thought, wow, it looks like the bottom of a light bulb almost. Like you could screw it in or something. So yeah, and mine are a little bit different. Yeah, one more I'll show you. I haven't done the back of him yet. But really, Liza? You don't think they're funny? It's a dog eat dog world. I'm losing it over here. Just showing you, giving you a little taste of it, of my oddness. Okay, this is the good old days. It's retro. Okay, you want to see one more retro? And I actually took it out of one of the Reminisce magazines. Okay. This one, I don't know. I just thought it was a cute little picture, so I cut it out. She's serving food. A mom from back in the, I don't know what days, but retro. Hi, Doors. And I'm going to make the back of it shiny. I just didn't get to do that yet. So I'm just doing little things like that. But it's fun. I have so freaking many, but not enough. Okay, this is June and July. No, it's July and August. And so it's summer fun, staying cool in and out of the water. Picnic memories, fun foods, and crazy games. A penny earned, the creative ways we made money. Thanks, guys. Let's see here. Okay, we're going to read Making a Splash, the first story in here. Thanks, Whisper. Okay, Eliza. It says, we expected a resort, but ended up all wet. It's by Frances Smith. Here's a picture of Frances and her mother on the dock near their cottage on Houghton Lake in Michigan in 1957. Hey, Muppets. So let's see what her story is. Why do we always have to go to Michigan on vacation? I'd complain every summer. Can't we go to Disneyland instead? Mama's explanation was always the same. Going to Michigan in the summer is what folks in Ohio do to escape the heat. It's cooler. Heading north, we'd stay each night at a different motel, like a Holiday Inn or a Howard Johnson's Motor Lodge. I'd look for motel billboards advertising heated pool. However, the summer of 1957 was different. I was 7 years old, and it was a vacation we never forgot. My thrifty Scotch Irish mother somehow finagled a good deal on a cottage at a resort on Lake, Houghton Lake. She convinced Daddy, who was a traveling paper salesman, that staying a week in one place would feel more like a vacation. Staying in a cottage sounded magical to me. The whole 300-mile drive up, I envisioned a stone fairy tale cottage with a round top door and windows. I couldn't wait. When we got closer to the lake, Daddy pointed out log cabin cottages. Maybe our cottage would look like it was built out of Lincoln logs instead. In the back seat, I was bouncing with excitement. When Daddy pulled into a fishing resort with cottages for fishermen, Mama said, "We're here." Stunned, I could see something white on the screen doors. I soon learned the screens had rips, and cotton was stuffed in the holes to keep out the swarms of bugs called Canadian soldiers. They looked like giant mosquitoes, but they didn't bite. Oh, I've never heard them called Canadian soldiers, but I do know those bugs. I'm sure you do too, Muppets. Those ginormous mosquitoes looking things. Walking in the door of our shanty, a musty smell greeted us. The wooden paneling on the walls was knotty pine, and the floor was coal black linoleum. There was only one bedroom. Folded white sheets and wool blankets were stacked on the corner of the bare mattress with no bedspread in sight. Mama and Daddy were quiet, but I didn't hesitate to announce the obvious. This place is a dump. Right, Muppets? Let's see. Mama was quick to put me in my place. This vacation isn't about you. We're here so your poor father can fish and relax. Daddy chimed in, "We're not buying the place." The bedroom was intended for them. I was supposed to sleep on the hideaway in the living room. When I sulked enough, I got their bedroom. What a little brat. I wasn't a roughing it kind of girl. Mama might have convinced herself the place had rustic charm, but I knew we were stuck. Down a small hill was the dock where rowboats were lined up. They could be rented at the office. Daddy had packed fishing poles and a bait bucket. Mama had packed paperback novels she was itching to read. I had a tendency to get on her nerves. I wonder, really? Hey, Sassy Darcy. Mayflies? I know what those are, but no, yeah, we've gotten those before. That's something different. Let's see. Wait, where was I? I had a tendency to get on her nerves, so Daddy agreed to take me fishing to get me out of her hair. There was a cold snap the first morning we were to go out on the lake. It was a good thing Mama had packed my hooded red winter coat because I needed it. Daddy rented the rowboat I picked out and got his bait bucket filled with minnows. We were after sunfish, and I knew the rules. Sit, be quiet, and don't ask where's the bathroom because there wasn't one. I love sunfish. Yeah, whisper. The dock was worn and wobbly. I wasn't sure how we were going to get into the boat, but Daddy pulled on the rope, and when the boat got close to the dock, I hopped in, and he did the same. We rowed out, taking turns. Neither of us wore a life jacket, and there weren't any in our boat. He baited my hook and showed me how to cast a line. I hate how these things constantly keep falling out. Always. Finally, his bobber disappeared. When he pulled in a sunfish, I was in awe. Looking closely at its golden scales, I thought sunfish was the perfect name. Daddy took it off the hook and threw it back, explaining, Mama is not about to cook fish. I was cold and getting queasy, so we headed back. When we got close to the dock, Daddy threw the rope up on the dock, hopped out, and tied it to the post. By that time, the boat had drifted out several feet. He called He called for me to get out, but I asked, How can I? He said, Simple, just pull on the rope. And when you get up to the dock, jump out. Well, I did what he said. I got one foot on the dock just fine. However, I didn't get my other foot on the dock quickly enough, and in I went, heavy winter coat and all. I was not a swimmer. It was deep at the end of the dock, and I remember feeling nothing under my feet and seeing tiny fish in murky green water. Daddy pulled me out by my hood, sputtering, howling, and shivering like crazy. My teeth wouldn't stop chattering. The weight of my soaked coat made it hard to walk, but I hiked up the hill to our cottage as fast as I could, sobbing, Mama, Mama, all the way. Boy, I can see that. I barreled through the door to get out of the cold, waking Mama, who was napping. She was furious when she laid eyes on me. Your father is in charge of you for 2 hours, and look what happens, she fumed. After helping me get out of my soggy clothes, she stormed out and down to the dock. I can only imagine what she had to say to Daddy. How Mama ever got my coat dry, I'll never know, but that was the last time we rented a cottage for a vacation. After we got home, Daddy got a kick out of telling the story. Frances Ann looked like a drowned rat. And oh, brother, 10 minutes later, down to the dock comes Ruth. You should have seen her, mad as a hornet. Daddy told his story to everybody, but I didn't remember the events as being as funny as Daddy thought. I just realized, look at the mom on the dock here. She's wearing a dress, a sweater. She's got some shorter heels on, nothing huge, but kind of like back in the Leave It to Beaver days. Dressed all fancy. Fancy schmancy. Kid. Look at the little girl. She does look like the kind that would do that, doesn't she? She just got that look to her. Okay. Spinos, S-P-I-N apostrophe S, lemon ice. Carolyn would like this story, and she's probably sleeping. A community legend served more than just a tasty treat by Amanda Spino. Right, Tavita? Here's a picture of Fran Spino, Josie Spino, and Albert Spino Jr. Left to right, work the lemon ice machine. You're taking a short break? What are you doing, Muppets? Oh, are you working, Muppets? I didn't want to message Carolyn because I thought, no, she might be sleeping. I don't want to wake her up. My dad often shares memories of his childhood in Peterstown, an Italian American neighborhood in Elizabeth, New Jersey. One of my favorite stories is about a cantankerous ice machine that became a Peterstown legend, Spino's Lemon Ice. Dad's parents, Josie and Albert Spino, immigrated from Italy in 1905 and 1920, respectively. After marrying, they opened a fruit and vegetable store on the corner of 3rd Avenue and Niles Street. They had 2 daughters and 2 sons, with, with my dad, Albert Jr., being the youngest. Some of Dad's earliest memories involve helping with the store and learning how to make lemon ice. Oh, you're watching The Godfather and eating Italian. Nom, 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 nom. Muppets. Are you really having spaghetti and pizza? Oh, let's see. Where was I? Okay. Spino's Lemon Ice started in the 1940s and quickly became known throughout Peterstown and the surrounding areas. The sign on the street corner, hand painted by Dad's oldest sister Carmela, attracted passerby. But more than that, they had the best advertising of all, word of mouth. You want it? Yeah. I know that sounds good, actually. To meet the demand for lemon ice, Dad and his siblings often spent summer days squeezing lemons and chopping ice. There wasn't much time for swimming or playing ball, and yet it always felt more fun. It always felt more like fun than work. We do, whisper. Even friends were not exempt from helping out. Dad recalls one instance when they were running low on ice. Jerry, a friend of Dad's older brother, Danny, stopped by for a visit. It wasn't long before Albert Sr. came over and said in his broken English, Jerry, go get me some ice. Friends were happy to oblige, and for their efforts, they received a free lemon ice. When Dad was older, he learned how to drive on his father's 2.5-ton truck, which he would take to the local ice house. No money ever changed hands. Instead, Dad would leave a watermelon and in exchange receive a 3 by 2 foot block of ice. Keeping the old ice machine working was no easy feat. The metal machine with its wooden barrels was electric, but it still required much upkeep. The belt constantly broke, and at one point the entire machine had to be replaced. Still, it made the best lemon ice even to this day. Many of the hardworking people of town, city workers, policemen, sanitation workers, etc., would come to cool off with a lemon ice. Children and families arrived by foot, bicycle, or car and rested on the storefront bench while enjoying their treat. For 25 cents, you could purchase a quart of lemon ice, but the smaller 5 and 10-cent options were most popular. No one was turned away if they didn't have enough money. Josie knew that they could be trusted to pay when they could. In addition to lemon, there were cherry, chocolate, and orange flavors, each made with fresh, natural ingredients and one special ingredient, which still remains a Spino family secret. The recipe itself was brought over from Italy by Albert Sr. Dad recalls his section of Elizabeth as having some of the finest food in all of New Jersey. Santilla's Pizza for making one of the best pizza pies in the U.S. Baroni's in the U.S. Baroni's made the best homemade raviolis. Oh, like Tony Baroni in the crime we're listening to right now. And Spiritos continues to serve mouth-watering Italian food. The food in Peterstown was second to none, and amongst those historic establishments was Spino's Lemon Ice. Probably pronouncing it wrong, but oh, you don't have to behave, have fun. I'm hoping to read a story that'll make Davita cry or touch her heart. This one's called The Watermelon Stand. We were in the business of selling what we grew if we didn't eat it first, by Douglas S. Clark. Oh, I look like Granny from the Beverly Hillbillies right now, don't I? The way my glasses are and stuff, the way I'm looking. Jethro! Jed! Ellie Mae! The cement pond! Oh, gosh. Growing up in the mountains of East Tennessee during the 1950s was a chain of memorable adventures. Each of the 4 seasons offered its own type of activity. Spring was for planting, and each of the 7 children in our family was given a plot of ground to grow the crop they wanted. My sisters chose flowers. Why, I will never know. My older brothers grew tomatoes to sell to the local market. As for me and my younger brother, Buddy Earl, we chose watermelons. Buddy Earl. In our plot of watermelons, we were doomed to pull the weeds growing among the vines. Buddy Earl stood up and stretched. Tell me again why we grow watermelons and not something we don't have to weed by hand. Being 12 years old, I was supposed to know the answer to every question. Well, it's like this. What we don't sell, we can eat or make jelly. And if any are left, Daddy can make his watermelon wine. Buddy Earl frowned. Speaking of watermelon wine, why won't Daddy let us have a glassful like the oldies? Anyone older than us, Buddy Earl called oldies. Where he came up with that name remains a mystery. I thought for a second, trying to remember all the reasons. Daddy said it would make us grow up walking sideways and rot our teeth out, I replied. Buddy Earl settled back to pulling weeds. Our family ain't going to have a tooth left in their head if they don't stop drinking that stuff. The summer passed and we cared for our patch of watermelons as if they were family. In the middle of July, Daddy went to our patch, plugged one, and deemed them ready to sell. Buddy Earl and I were all smiles. Now we could reap the fruits of our labor. We sold the melons by the building of our roadside stand. Painting and installing signs was a family project. Buddy Earl read our sign. Vine ripened watermelons ahead. Ain't that just the truth? There were only two other signs. One was a welcome, and the other read, "Go back, you passed us." After everything was ready, we settled in to make our fortunes. Being as it was early in the morning, the road to the Smoky Mountains National Park was devoid of traffic. We both knew this wouldn't last. Soon we would be busy as beavers. I leaned back against the wall and closed my eyes, imagining all the goodies I could buy with my share of the profits. The slurping sound of someone eating watermelon brought me back to the real world. I opened my eyes to discover Buddy Earl was eating our display melon. I was both surprised and a bit angry. "What do you think you're doing?" I snapped. My loving brother spit out a couple of seeds and grinned. "I know what I'm doing. Eating watermelon." "Answer this question. Why are you so red? I could have bitten a nail in two. Do you know what this means? You eating the melon we had for show? Buddy Earl took another bite of melon and mumbled, "Now that you caught me, do I have to share my melon and fork with you?" Now I was more surprised. "Where did you get that old bent fork?" He held up the fork. "Out of my back pocket." "Where do you keep your fork?" Not wanting to continue the question and answer game, I cut open another melon and placed it on the counter for display. Buddy Earl knew he had me going and wanted one last jab. "Can I have what you don't eat? I'm still hungry." At that moment, I knew Mama was right when she said Buddy Earl would wear out the patience of Job. I turned my back to Buddy Earl, which brought on another problem. I felt something strike the back of my head. To my surprise, I discovered it was a watermelon seed stuck in my hair. I turned quickly. My loving brother had a seed between his thumb and forefinger, ready for another shot. I grabbed half a melon and stood up. "Now you're in for it," I grinned. But my little brother was saved from a fate worse than death when a car stopped at the side of the road. The license plate read Ohio, our first customer of the day. I put on my biggest smile as the man and a young girl approached the counter. "Morning, sir. Would you like one of our vine ripened melons? Only $1 each." The prospective customer looked at Buddy Earl and his half eaten melon. "If they're that good, I'll buy two." I pointed to the row of melons. "Pick you out a couple and I will plug them and you can have a taste." The man placed two on the counter. "What if you plug both and I don't want either?" Sounds like that would be my dad saying that kind of stuff. He's always joking with these people. I jerked my thumb toward Buddy Earl, who was standing close behind me. "I'll just feed them to him." The customer chuckled. "There's no need to plug. I'll buy both." As the car drove away, Buddy Earl placed his hand on my shoulder. "You should have told them to save the seeds." I brushed his sticky hand from my shoulder. "Save the seeds? I am sure those folks do not raise watermelons." Buddy Earl wiped his sticky hands on his shirt. "I ain't talking about planting or growing. I'm talking about a shooting and spitting contest." I smiled as my little brother swatted at a bee. Melon juice on his shirt was not the best idea. "I think that would go over like a lead balloon," I replied. It wasn't long before our stand was buzzing with activity. Bees came from everywhere to join the party. Buddy Earl danced around trying to stay away from the bees. "What can I do to make these bees leave me alone?" I could have said, "Take off your shirt," but I had a different solution. "Put it on backwards and you won't see the bees." Buddy Earl glared at me. "You would be funny, but your face doesn't count." He removed his shirt and placed it outside. The bee problem was solved. By late afternoon, all the melons were sold and we closed our stand. Much to our dismay, Buddy Earl's shirt was still covered with bees. "Now what do we do?" he asked. "We can't leave it here." Now was my time to shine. "You get a long stick, carry the shirt home, and hang it on the woodshed. Tonight, when the bees go back to the hive, you can get your shirt." By early August, the melons were history and we were a bit richer. Buddy Earl and I wanted to buy all types of candy and toys. Our father wanted the money to be used for winter coats when the winter snows and winds came. We were glad we had agreed with our father. Besides, there was always next year. Let me see. Davida, are you still here? One, two, three. What does that mean? Four. 5, what? 7. Okay, love the story. Okay. I'm going to read a couple more. I don't know what's happening, Muppets. I was just asking if Davita was still here, trying to find one that makes her cry from happiness. I don't know that I'm going to find it, though, so we're just going to go in order. Oh, thank you, Liza. That's a good idea. Whisper. This one's called The National Picnic. What a perfect summer day. Races, contests, and all the ice cream I could eat by Jeffrey Morris Smith. Oh, look how cute. The Smith family souvenir picture from the National Picnic 1959. And then there's a little picture up here in the corner that's Randy Smith blowing up a sack in the paper sack race. Look at the two little girls. Are they twins? Or maybe they're just really close in age. Oh, and then here's little Randy Smith. My favorite day of summer was the day of the National Company Picnic. In 1959, my father worked as an assembly mechanic at National Machinery in Tiffin, Ohio. Their annual picnic was the third Saturday in August and was held at Meadowbrook Park in Bascom, Ohio. The social committee was in charge, and employees signed up to help with refreshments, contests, amusements, and parking. The day began before 8 a.m. with employees and their families lining up in their cars in front of National's brick buildings. There was a friendly competition to see who would be first in line. A few went so far as to park their cars out front overnight. Help me, Rhonda. Dad would volunteer to help line up the cars for the caravan. There were hundreds of employees, and everyone participated in the procession. Employees who were members of the Quarter Century Club attached a blue flag with National printed on it to the rain gutter on their car. Mr. Friedman, National's president, stood out front and waved as we drove by. With our police escort, we caravanned the 7 miles to Meadowbrook with picnic baskets and swimsuits in tow. Let me get a sip. Employees were generously paid 5 hours wages. Hi, Julie. I don't see you, but I'm just saying hi because I see Davida saying hi. These wages put Dad in a cheerful, let's have fun mood. When I saw the famous Meadowbrook lion statue at the entrance, my anticipation soared. Tags and tickets were distributed at the park gate. We hurried and hung our tags on a button or belt loop. Employee volunteers were already handing out free ice cream bars. Mom rarely bought ice cream at home because it cost too much. If anything, she bought ice milk. But on this day, I could eat as much real ice cream as I wanted. This was heaven. Hi, help me, Rhonda, I said. I'm not going to say hi. Let's see. At 9 a.m., contests started for adults and kids in different age groups. There were rules, judges, and prizes. My sisters remember winning roll fast roller skates, and Alice still has hers. We sat in bleachers to watch and devoured ice cream bars while waiting for our groups to be called. There were races, dashes, throws, and scrambles. A favorite was the potato sack race. With both feet in the sack, we hopped, not ran, to the finish line. The paper sack race was for 6 and 7-year-olds, so my brother Randy raced to the far end, snatched up a sack, blew it up, popped it, and ran back. My age group, the 8 and 9-year-olds, ran the water race. I balanced a cup of water on a paint stir stick and then carried it to the far end and back to the finish line. Oh, okay, Rhonda. I just got to harass you. You know. Hi, Mary. Haven't seen you in a while, girl. Let's see, where are we? Dad got a kick out of the foreman's contest. This was real entertainment for him. Each foreman tied a water balloon on his back belt loop. Then they ran around with rolled up newspapers, whacking each other's balloons, trying to make them pop. That's a funny one. The penny scramble was good, even though it was in a mound of sawdust. Besides pennies, there were also nickels, dimes, and a few quarters in that mound. If it was humid, the sawdust would stick to our skin. Oh. There was also a candy kiss scramble for my two sisters in the 3 and under group. After the contest, we'd go to the dome roofed dance pavilion. We'd look over the nearly 50 door prizes on display. Everything from thermos bottles with cork stoppers to toasters and wristwatch. The big prize was a television or a freezer. Charlie Miller was always the announcer. Before the drawing, new members of the Quarter Century Club were recognized and introduced. Next, Charlie would hold up a long metal can with circular red and white stripes. Inside were the names and clock numbers of all the employees. Kids would pull out the names, and Charlie would announce the winners. Only twice we heard C. Morris Smith, number 102. One year, Dad won a croquet set. Another year, a Hudson Bay point blanket. Hudson Bay point blanket. A wool blanket as luxurious as this one was too good for us to use. It was stored in Mom's dresser, and we continued to use the scratchy army blankets Dad had used in the service. Isn't that funny if you win something or whatever? Hi, sour milk. I can't believe it either. Sick bots. Let's see. Yeah, you get these nice things and then never use them. My granny's orange couch with that clear plastic stuff on it. I don't think that ever came off. Let's see, where are we? At lunchtime, families got out their picnic baskets. Ours was tin and painted red plaid. I didn't want to fill up on the pimento cheese sandwiches in our basket. I needed to save room for more ice cream. I'm surprised they didn't have lunch with all that stuff. After lunch, we had our souvenir family picture taken in the pavilion where a photo studio was set up. In the afternoon, the ice cream bars were switched to cones. Lots of ice cream. Luscious scoops of strawberry, chocolate, and vanilla ice cream dipped from tubs filled our cones. When the pop stand opened, I helped myself to bottles of my favorite flavor, blood orange. It was all free, and we could have as much as we wanted. The rides opened too. Oh, wow, they had rides. There was the Lindy Loop, the Whip, a Ferris wheel, kiddie cars, a train, and a merry-go-round. Back by the barn, there was a pony track for Wild West rides. Motorboat rides took people up and down Wolf Creek. If it got sultry, we could swim in the crystal pool. I went home wiped out. The following week, Dad brought our family picture home after work. Mom delighted in comparing it to previous years and marveling at how much we kids had grown. Everything about the national picnic was fun, but the coolest part was just knowing that if I wanted to, I could eat ice cream until I exploded. That would be fun for a kid, especially as much ice cream as you wanted. Here's a short story, A Cowboy Breakfast. And does that look good? Yum, yum, yum. Oh, and that's that candy cane that you have to find. It's right there. How easy is that to find? Oh, okay, Liza Ward. Have fun on your sail. I know, right, Muppets? I think I could too. And seafood. Okay. What's a cowboy breakfast? What's better than cafe food? Country cooking by a real cowboy. Yeah, I did. Yes, I did. I did sour milk. Yes, that's what you were talking about. Yes, that was really cool. Thank you. I really like that chipmunk video. Yes. Liver and onions, me too, Muppets. When we meet up, we have to have liver and onions, right? Find a restaurant that serves that. The summer of 1938, my brother-in-law Avery decided to take on the challenge of managing a fishing resort. Glen Debbie was near the high mountain lakes close to the Colorado-Wyoming border. Avery asked my husband Eldon and me to help him. The other employee was a cowboy named Buck. He was shy around people. This is gonna have to be the last one too. Okay, guys. I didn't know it was this late. Let's see. He was shy around people, but Buck was wonderful with horses. Eldon told me that one time Buck was ahead of him on a narrow mountain trail when a storm came up just as Buck was starting to roll a cigarette. He had poured tobacco from a drawstring pouch into the center of the thin cigarette paper. Right then, lightning spooked his horse, which made it rear up. In the blink of an eye, Buck, keeping the tobacco paper level, closed the tobacco pouch with his teeth and put it in his pocket, and then he grabbed the reins with his free hand. He rode the horse to a standstill. Then he rolled the cigarette. Eldon was amazed that Buck kept the horse on the trail. and didn't even lose any tobacco. As I said, Buck was a whiz with horses, but ever since he was 10 years old, he had spent every summer in the high country meadows watching his dad's herd. For many years, he stayed by himself all summer, so he had very little experience of dealing with people. A day came when we left Buck in charge of the ranch. Avery was away on business, and Eldon and I needed to go to Pine Bluffs, Wyoming to get groceries. No one had made reservations for a fishing trip, so we expected very little activity at Glendevi while we were gone. However, the minute we got back and pulled into the driveway, Buck came to meet us. "I'm so glad you're back," he said. "A couple came by and I didn't know what to do." "What did they want?" Eldon asked. "They were looking for a cafe. I told them the nearest cafe was in Pine Bluffs, but they said they had just come from there." The man said he wasn't about to backtrack. His wife said she didn't want to go back either, but she was hungry. I figured that going south, they would have to go to Fort Collins. Fort Collins. "What did they do?" Eldon asked. "Well," Buck said, "the man said he was really hungry too and asked if there was anywhere to get food. I've been cooking since I was a boy and I figured I could scare him up some breakfast. So I told them, I can fix you some breakfast if you want to wait." They said, "Okay." "What did you fix?" I asked. "Well, I gave them some coffee. Then I whipped up a batch of biscuits and I found some bacon and eggs in the ice box. I figured a cafe would do it fancy, so I used the china plates and the good silverware. I guess I did okay because they ate 2 eggs apiece and lots of biscuits and bacon." "How much did you charge them?" I asked. "I didn't know how much it was worth, so I charged them $5. Was that all right?" "It's probably more than a restaurant would charge." "What did they say?" "They were happy, I guess. She just kept saying, 'Just think, honey, I can tell my women's club I had a meal cooked by a real cowboy.'" A real cowboy. That's cute, isn't it? I bet that was a good breakfast too, right? Okay, gonna go now. She really does like liver and onions, and so do I. You're welcome. You're welcome, Muppets. Yeah, Muppets, didn't we say sometime we could meet somewhere that's like halfway between both of us? I really want to do that. We should do that this summer. Find a restaurant that has liver and onions or whatever we like and hang out and have a lunch together or a dinner or something. Right, Muppets? Let's do, for real. Let's do it. You're imagining Sam Elliott cooking it for you. Okay, guys, thank you for coming. I really appreciate it. Hope you have a good night or a good day wherever you are. Okay, see you guys. Bye. See ya.